Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, you had a good day and you're excited about the weekend. Uh, a lot actually we covered in this week, through our AI hours. Any questions, any comments from last few sessions or the last session that we had? And thank you, Venus, for posting that feedback or the inputs on Assembly AI. I think definitely I asked my team to check it out. And
Yeah,
yeah, we will also see how it works out. We have not yet used it, but definitely will use it.
yeah. But yeah, thank you for basically referring me to Assembly AI. It was helpful. Yeah, I think the only thing left now is to
Mm.
figure out even more cheaper option, which is like, even efficient. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe something. So I think the summarization part, LLM is still not very costly for the use case like this. But
Mm-hmm.
transcription uh, is something if even become more cheaper with the quality which Assembly AI is given will be actually very wonderful. Will also research more on this.
Yeah. And you mentioned it was 35 cents per hour, right?
Yeah,
Um,
35 cents per hour.
so
So it's like
approximately 1.05 cent per minute.
yeah, kind of 35 cents.
It's actually very cheap, isn't it? Because in
35 cents,
India, I think
30
this
rupees for 30, uh,
yeah, 30 rupees. So it's 50 paisa per
per,
approximately
50 paisa per
minute.
minute. So I was thinking from that particular perspective, a call duration is about 3 minutes. So it's charging basically 1.5 rupees for every call, uh,
Yeah.
in a way.
No,
So
but this is for the voice hours, right? So if the person is not speaking, so
okay.
usually, let's say customer care agent would talk for like 10-15 minutes,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And for in that, basically, the agent might be talking, let's say 50%. So let's say 6-7 minutes of talk time.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
So in an hour, it would do maybe 20-25 minutes,
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
would mean approximately again
Maybe one third, or
20,
let's say half of
20,
the
20
cost.
rupees maybe, right?
Yeah, 20 rupees maybe.
20 and 8 hours, 200 rupees. So that's cheap, right? Say 200 into 30 days, I would pay 6,000 rupees, while any customer care agent in India would cost 30 to 50,000 per month.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right from that particular perspective. I was thinking from a speech to text perspective. So let's say
Mm,
for a marketplace where sellers and buyer are talking via. So let's say Uber kind of a marketplace where driver is speaking to the customer
mm,
and transcripting that and getting insights, getting some feedback loop, rating.
mm,
So today rating is something which is manual in all
mm,
marketplaces. So
mm,
one is our internal customer support part. Yeah, from that particular perspective, if the use case is about text to speech and conversation, yeah, I think that looks pretty cheaper. But at scale, I was thinking 1.5 rupees or maybe 1 rupee for a call. Yeah, actually not very costly. Maybe need to build more use cases to justify this cost. But yeah, underlying data which we can collect.
mm,
So I then actually from the transcript using the direct chat GPT, not the APIs,
mm,
I used your what you taught us on the side of structured data prompting.
mm,
So I
mm,
did that. It was giving pretty good structured data
mm,
from the calls. And
mm,
in some cases, because the conversation is happening between two different parties, we are not sure. So let's say five structured data I'm ready to get, but there
mm,
are other three structured data which may or may not be present, or unique structured data which can be pulled out. So it
mm,
I just prompted other structured data from last let's say 30 transcript. It
mm,
gave up more structured data which I can then put it into my structured code to pull, make it as a part of
Yeah.
structured data. So it was pretty decent. I think it's up to our imagination that what we can build from a product perspective on top of
Yes. Yes.
that.
Yes.
The
Yes.
underlying structured data actually solved a lot of things. The same thing you mentioned, I experienced it
Hmm.
myself.
So,
No. No. Great. Great.
Manoj and Venus, I can share one more use case which I use
Hmm.
very frequently.
Hmm.
We attend investor calls, investor day sessions from top management of other energy companies, and
Hmm.
even expert interviews that we conduct. There's a
Hmm.
panel of experts that we interview for some projects. So I usually pay $500 to $1,000 for a 1 hour call transcription.
Uh,
Ah.
Oh, this transcription, quarterly results transcription.
No, no, not that quarterly one. Quarterly one, I'm trying to figure out through Copilot and everything. But
Mhm.
these expert calls, because these calls cannot be recorded.
Okay. Yeah,
This
got
is
it.
like on a proprietary software, so they cannot be
Mhm.
recorded.
Yeah.
So the same company which is offering us the expert, they will charge anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500
Mhm.
for 1 hour, right? And that
Mhm.
expert will get 200, 300, $500,
Yeah, yeah,
depending on the
got it.
seniority. But
Yeah.
the real benefit that they drive out of the session, because you cannot write everything, right? Some
Yeah.
people might be having a different accent and different region and everything. So a lot of times we take the transcript of the session, or a recording of the session. So for that, they charge us between 500 to $1,000 on that transcription service.
Mm.
Wow.
Makes sense.
That's a
And
lot
that
of
is
money.
also not, and that, see, because there is obviously, these are not neutral English speaking guys sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this will not be 100% perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is also, see, it depends, right? Where are you applying that use case, or where are you using it, the technology? I think the kind of return that you can build can be very different.
When
So
can be
let's
very
say,
different. Yes. Yes. Yes.
right? So if you are charging like 600 rupees for an hour, or 300 rupees for an hour, or even 1,000 rupees for an hour using an AI tool,
Hmm.
versus if you are paying 40, 50,000 rupees,
Yeah.
so it is monumental difference.
Absolutely.
No. Definitely. Definitely. I think. No, that's what you're sharing is interesting, and with such huge gross margins, if I can, and we have been also thinking, how do we leverage AI as a cost lever?
Hmm.
A lot of places. In fact, we are now internally creating sales videos,
Hmm.
which we used to pay like 25 to 30,000 rupees to anyone to create like a 2 minute or 3 minute video, sales video with some human voice. Now with other tools, we can just create in like 1,000 rupees and in few hours kind of stuff. So definitely there's those kind of cost saving is there for in those use cases. But yeah, there are going to be where the use cases are going to be low margin use cases, and there we cannot, I think, afford to have such costly. But there will be use cases where the cost doesn't matter at all. Just such a huge cost. Great, thanks for sharing that, Abhishek and Veena. So I'll quickly uh, come to the topic of today, which basically is around Agentic. Uh, are you aware of what Agentic is? AI is. Have you heard of Agentic AI? I personally, is very bullish about it. I feel that it's something really big is coming because of all this. Much bigger than Gen AI. Uh, have you guys heard of Agentic?
Yeah, I think it's like a virtual personal assistant, non-human kind of a way, where you can assign simple tasks to
Hmm.
the AI, and mostly, yeah, like you mentioned, right? Plan my trip to Greece, so planning
Yeah, yeah,
itineraries, or what you call concierge services. While, yeah, they cannot
yeah.
go and book it, but simpler tasks. Uh, I've even seen people create, let's say, outline of projects, and let's just creating those structures. of some presentation, etc. They take this help.
Mm-hmm. No, no, yes. So basically, so agentic. So if on the slide, if you look at, right, so Gen AI is primarily your generation tasks, right? Like create an image of Greece in 2050 kind of stuff, right? And agentic is primarily where the action tasks are done by, it could be a single agent, it could be a multiple agent, but these are virtual assistants, not human assistants. Although you can put somewhere a human in the loop, where you say, okay, now the human is required for approval or those kind of stuff. But fundamentally, these are autonomous in nature. So one thing is that they're autonomous in nature. They can actually, if depending on how much autonomy you want to give, they can actually decide for you a lot of stuff. Like for planning my trip to Greece, for example, in this taking the example, it could give me an options that these are the hotels, these are things, and those kind of stuff. That and I can choose one of the hotels, I can choose one of the car rentals, I can choose one of the museums to go. But a completely autonomous agent, a pool of agents, crew of agents. Basically, they can just m- book everything. Maybe refundable, right? Not non-refundable, but maybe refundable, knowing that these are the tastes and of previous bookings and those kind of stuff, right? That basically is the world where which is coming at a very fast pace. A lot of people are talking about it. If you hear, what the top CEOs of any company, whether OpenAI or Google or whatever you take, they're talking about this being the next revolution. So definitely a very interesting piece that we should, and therefore I'm covering this piece because I'm fairly excited, what is coming. We are actually also building uh, sort of, you can say, commerce infrastructure for agentic use cases, which we believe is sort of unique, given the stage where we are today, in terms of adoption of agents and those kind of stuff. But so we are spending and investing a lot of time in this. I'm fairly excited about it. An agent basically is an AI software application. I think Abhishek, you rightly pointed it out. It is basically a virtual assistant that uses LLMs and AI infrastructure to perform specific tasks autonomously or semi-autonomously. I think we will start more like semi-autonomously initially, and we might graduate to autonomous agents. Fundamentally, what it means is that, as I said, AI agent talks to, you talk to an AI agent, and behind the scene, basically it is talking through APIs, through function calls, and basically completing the tasks or the goals given to the agent kind of stuff, right? It could be multiple, you can think of multiple use cases. For example, I can say, do research on top 10, let's say energy companies. And once you have done the research, check their stock prices, and see the trend in stock prices. Also highlight any, major acquisitions they might have done. Something like that, you can actually create multiple agents, and which can do multiple pieces of that, and create, and actually the agent, through a collaborative effort, through usage of multiple agents. So usually you would not have a single agent, you will have multiple agents who will then basically, through an LLM, which is primarily the brains in this whole flow, would give you an answer, which might be the best answer kind of stuff. Uh, so if you are looking at agentic AI, and these are the three companies or tools of framework that you can say you would definitely hear, right? So one is Langgraph, I briefly mentioned yesterday. Langgraph is basically from LangChain. The people who created LangChain, which LangChain, as I said, allows you to connect to multiple. A simple way allows you to connect to multiple LLMs through a suite of library and Python libraries and those kind of stuff. Uh, uh, Autogen is from Microsoft, and Crew AI is a company which basically is the name of the Crew AI is a product that they have, right? So these are the three fundamentally, you can say orchestration, uh, tools which can allow you to create agents, give them tasks, create some kind of, decision trees, allow them to, talk to external world, uh, open a PDF, those kind of stuff. So you scrape the websites. You could also be looking at calling the APIs of weather. For example, if someone is looking for weather or traveling to certain city and you want to know the weather and other stuffs like traffic and best food joints there kind of stuff. So it basically these are the three that you would come across. And I would definitely cover Langgraph today. Uh, Langgraph is open source, so it is not a closed source. It's open source framework designed by LangChain, and it can have multi agent kind of framework. Autogen is from Microsoft. Very good in conversational kind of as a conversational agents. Uh, but what I've heard is that they have limitations with respect to integrations with external tools or APIs kind of stuff. Which may be something a limitation when you use Autogen. And Crew AI is basically similarly like Langgraph or Autogen. But what they have is fundamentally they have said these are the pre-built kind of AI agents like travel agent and these agent and that agent, and you basically can use these agents the fly kind of stuff. Uh, now, this is some data that people just sharing one kind of anecdotal data that someone did a polling on which framework is the most effective for building an agent, and 40% actually said Langgraph is the top choice, followed by Crew AI and Autogen. Uh, just giving you some kind of indication that who is the leader when you're building a agent, and which framework should you use. And basically this is another study someone did that between LangGraph, Autogen and QAI, how they do rank. uh, uh, Now, so of course LangGraph is a little bit more complicated, but once you understand the core concept of LangGraph, the if you look at here, like Langgraph and Crew have its edge, Langgraph and has an edge, Langgraph. So you'll see that lot of times Langgraph and Crew AI would come as an edge over Autogen, and although it's for Microsoft, the first choice is Langgraph, second choice is Crew AI, and third choice is Autogen. Just I'm giving you some data points so that if you're looking at which one to choose and you probably don't have time to evaluate your maybe the first choice is to go and use Langgraph, and not worry about Autogen Crew AI. Again, another, I was looking at Reddit, and some of these comments were there that I used to use Autogen initially, but had to move to LangChain, and Langgraph is very good, very precise, those kind of stuff. Of course, one of the challenges in Langgraph would be that it will be a little bit more complicated to understand, given that it based on the graph concepts. But once you get through it, I think it's definitely an interesting one. Yeah. So with that, basically, what is an agent? What's agentic AI? What are the three different frameworks people usually use to build agents? Is there's a summary of it. Now this basically, these are the, you can say, more related to Langgraph. And I've chosen Langgraph because during the study that we did, we realized that that's the best framework, and it's better to talk about it. Once you understand Langgraph, it's a little bit fairly easier to understand also how Autogen works and how Crew AI works, and it's not that complicated at all actually. Now, in any agent, so agent is what? Agent is that control flow defined by LLM. So LLM basically is the brain, is basically the human, you can say, sitting in the whole flow and saying what to do, right? So if you giving this query, LLM is saying, okay, given that this query, what are the different actions that I need to do? And that basically is the flow which is defined by LLM. And usually, you will start, you'll take, let's say, take a input from the customer. It goes into LLM. LLM based on the input will say whether I want to do step 2 or step 3. Like there's a conditional, routing which is happening. And then after that, it may just give a response and give an answer. So it's a pretty, from a very high level, that's fundamentally a very simple flow with which any agent would, a simple agent would follow, kind of stuff, right? Now, the same flow, Langgraph, what it breaks down is it breaks down into edges and nodes. So if you look at any graph, right, a graph, if you look at a graph database, and understand what's happening there, right? There are nodes and the edges. Edges connect the nodes, and the decisions and a lot of logic is there in the node. So GraphQL, graph database, a lot of data is there in the node, and the edges, sort of tell that what is the relationship between nodes. Here, basically, it's more about the node has certain kind of specific task or action to perform, and then edges are the, you can say, are the decision, linkages which connect one node to another code. This is how, at a very high level, how the lang graph is structured. So they will talk about node, they will talk about edges, and tools. So another thing is that they will talk about tools. Tools are fundamentally anything which an agent would need to execute other than the LLM kind of stuff, right? So if it has to go out and scrape a website in agentic world, that's a tool. It's a scraping tool. Uh, if the LLM is saying that, open a PDF, this PDF, and search, do a RAG kind of retrieval from that, right? That again is a tool in the agentic world. So there, if I can, quickly show, you know what Crew AI has tools. One second, I'm just gonna say. So these are the tools which Crew AI, publishes. So for example, this is just a headless browser, browser based web loader, some kind of code interpreter, some kind of CSV RAG search, image generation. It could be, document. So this is this CSV RAG search, docx RAG search, file read, file write. These are all file, some kind of crawling, some kind of GitHub search. All these are in agentic world. Selenium scraper, scraping website, all these website RAG search, XML RAG search. So all these are tools in the agentic world. So what would someone, if an agent has to perform a task in their, world, these are the tools they will use to get the work done, kind of stuff. And therefore, when I say, in the example, plan my trip to Greece, right? That that and it has to like talk to booking.com or rentalcars.com, right? That's basically is a tool action. It's basically a tool in the agent world. So even the API call is basically a tool. So that's how we have to, from a lingo perspective, you come across and say, okay, what is tool? Why, these are basically the tools that they're talking about. This side. And so as I said, there are semi-autonomous and the fully autonomous agents. How much control that you want to give to LLM, right? It's fundamentally how much control do you want to give to LLM to get the task done. Do you want to just give a very simple routing kind of stuff that if this happens, do this, if this happens, do this, if they have do this? Or do you really want to say, okay, you decide what you want to do, right? This is what the task has to be done. Whether you go to booking.com or hotels.com is your choice. I don't, that's not my choice kind of stuff, right? But you book a hotel for me kind of stuff, right? So that's more like a fully autonomous. Fun. Lot of times today, people are, looking at, you know, router kind of stuff because that has more control. I can really control the output because the agentic world is still not matured enough for that kind of autonomy. So you would just route, say that do task one or task two or task three or task four kind of stuff. Um Now, so basically, as I said, there's a node and the edge concept here. I don't know if you guys know React framework, which is basically a reasoning and act framework in the whole agentic framework. Fundamentally, uh, in this example, for example, the LLM is saying they go to step two or step three, but after step three, it can come back to LLM that I've done step three. Tell me what to do now, kind of stuff, right? And the LLM will again observe the output of step three and say, okay, now go to step two, kind of stuff, right? That's more like a loop happening back from step LLM to step three to coming back to LLM is a loop, and that's basically is fundamentally the concept of React framework. And if you might hear about React in when you read about agentic and systems and those kind of stuff. And that fundamentally is what is happening is that there is an action which is happening, which is going from LLM to step three. There's observation which is happening while going back from step three to LLM, and then LLM will again reason, okay, based on this output, now what I have to do. So I have to go to the next step and next step. Like it's a chain of thoughts kind of stuff where you say list down all the steps kind of stuff. That kind of agentic implementation also you can do in a Langgraph by basically pointing that once you're done this, go back to the LLM kind of stuff. So with that, basically, any questions till now? I've covered a lot of theory part. I wanted to show you some code. Uh, how this works. Some part of what agentic, we are actually also building agentic commerce uh, app. And well, of course, as I said, I do plan to show that sometime next week, where you will see some of these concepts of task and action and looping back and those kind of stuff. uh, but any questions till now? So let me now, you know, uh, tell you we have understood the concepts, right? And this is basically a collab. I'll share these collab notebooks so that you can also play around. But
Just
fundamentally,
one,
yeah.
just one question, Manoj. So, if I understood it correctly, so last time also I asked this about agentic.
Hmm.
So agentic is basically, uh, so the main core brain is LLM only.
Hmm.
In this also, the
Yes.
fundamental shift which happened in AI is only LLM. In this also, that is the thing. But so let's say if I have to think about the use case and see how would we be doing about this before LLM. we would be using, if it is no code, then we would be using Zapier. Let's say if the weather is this, then give me a reminder about taking umbrella, or set a calendar for this IFTTT. Or maybe in a Python code also, if people write, if fetch my calendar, if this is this, then write an email to this using Gmail API or something like that. So
Hmm.
so that was so basically the power here is LLM, which is giving a response which human has to code earlier. Now that is
Yes.
the response which is but is there anything happening within the LLM response also, so that they know the steps? Because right now in ChatGPT, what we are doing is they are getting the answers, but are we doing something in the prompting of LLM here, that it tells that these are the n number of steps you need to do one by one? You can decide a router route, or
Hmm.
you can decide a autonomous route. So just trying to understand what
Yeah.
is different here.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, so you're right about it. There's certain kind of action creation which LLM is doing.
Okay.
Let's take a simple example, right? If I say divide, add one, add 2 plus 2,
Mm.
multiply then by multiply that by 3, and then again subtract by 2, kind of stuff. Like I've given like 3 stages to this I've given that to LLM, right? Now if you had to do this before LLM, right, it becomes very complicated for you to understand. No, first you have to understand what this can
Text.
mean, right? The text means divide and then multiply. So you'll have to do a lot of jugglery. Okay, look for divide word, and then before that, after that, all those things, right? That becomes the argument. That's all this jugglery is what LLM is doing.
Hmm.
First of all, second of all, LLM is saying first action is divide, second action is multiply, third action is subtraction, right?
Hmm.
Then LLM, now this is where the tools part will come. You can then could have created, now these are simple examples, LLM itself
Yeah.
can do the same calculations, but you can create 3 tools. One is divide, one is multiply, one is subtract. And
Hmm.
then LLM will, through the logic, say, okay, first call this tool 1, then call this tool 2, and then call this tool 3. That's right. All this complicated thing is just 4 or 5 lines of code today
So all these
for you.
tools, like, so let's say scraping, Selenium tools and all that, headless scraping and all. So that is the old thing. That is the old thing which we already had. So let's say if
Yes, yes.
maybe Amazon is scraping Flipkart to see if the prices are lower. Somebody is finally changing the prices of their product. So all that is what we are saying is normal, common, but the LLM part, which is actually giving the response, is the final
Yeah.
power we have. Got it.
So
Hmm.
this is your old world. This is how people are saying now.
Correct.
This is your old world. This is your new world. And fundamentally, people in between like Langgraph and LLMs, everything is connecting that new world to the old world and stuff. Uh, and
Yeah, sorry.
yeah, so that's how basically. So you are right. All these even existed before that also. Right? It's not, nothing of this is new. The com still exists, would exist. But
Hmm.
how would Booking.com will be used 5 years from now?
Hmm.
It will be very, very different. It will be more like a travel infrastructure rather than a travel app.
Hmm.
So you
So
look
these
at it.
Langgraph, Crew AI, and Autogen and similar tools, these are tools or whatever the frameworks.
Yeah.
So these are just to make things easy like LangChain, but
Yes.
somebody can actually do it without that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. You can do that. So, for example, we have done the earlier before LangChain version, kind of style, LangGraph version, where we say create an action, detect an action in this, right?
Hmm.
The action may be search. Action can be add to. I'm just taking example of a commerce use case. The action can be add to cart. The action can be a login. the action can be this, right? So customer can speak anything, but to detect an action and then based on that action, call this API
Mm.
is
Tools.
something that we had to specifically prompt
Mm.
and give us, this give me in this structure response. All this is automatically handled by Langgraph. You don't have to do anything.
So the only question remains now is that why is then people are saying ki agentic AI is now coming up. So LLM is already there. It's been 2 years or 3 years, and people are, or is it just the natural evolution? Keep people are figuring out and all that.
Yeah, it is basically a natural evolution. You can say that. It's just that today, if I have to build complicated flows, it's difficult.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can use just LLM without using all these frameworks, build a agentic, simple app is
Hmm.
fine. But if I have to do anything complicated and managing all the state and
Hmm.
managing all that becomes a challenge.
Hmm.
Like
So basically,
conversational, simple thing
hmm.
like conversational state. It's
Hmm.
very easily managed in Langgraph. I don't
Hmm.
have to say. For example, I could have said, book my ticket to from this to this. Oh no, but change the destination, right? In the next response.
Hmm.
So then someone has to know my previous, what did I, you know, my source was what.
So basically,
Right?
on today, let's say on Swiggy, if I have to ask for a refund before LLM world or even after today, maybe they are not still using. So I basically go there and they have few options. I write and somebody comes as a chat. Their agent comes, human agent comes,
Uh,
and finally they do the refund on my behalf. So maybe this NLP capability, LLM capability, even somebody's writing in Hindi, Tamil, or any language, they will be able to refund that particular whole thing basis their logic, and they will be, the tool will be to basically take the action API call on the refund system and all, and they can do that
yeah,
simply with
yeah,
that.
they can do refund, they can do return pickup, for
Mm.
example,
Got it.
because these are two different tasks for
Mhm.
this, right? Or I could cancel, right, my order.
Yeah,
The customer will be asking for cancellation. This is the third task. So these are all tools from a agentic lingo
got it.
perspective. There are three different tools. LLM will decide which tool to use based on the
Mhm.
NLP understanding, whatever the customer is saying.
Understood. Perfect. Thanks.
Any other question from anyone? So basically just a very simple, collab notebook here. Here we are installing, Langgraph, and then we basically uh, creating a state. Now, state is basically just you can say object where a lot of data is stored for each node to when the node is when the flow is moving from one node to another node. So it's basically just a object you can say which stores something. Here basically I'm creating three nodes. So node one, node two, and node three. The state so whatever the initial state is, what is this saying is just replace that state with I am kind of stuff. And then node 2 is whatever the state you're getting, just add happy, and node 3 is whatever state I have, then add sad kind of stuff. So this basically are three nodes. So here basically node 1, node 2, node 3. Fundamentally whatever is happening here is saying either depending on the mood, I am happy or I'm sad kind of stuff, right? So that basically is a simple routing that we want to do. And here basically here they have taken a simple example of like 50-50. So 50% of time, so instead of taking a very complicated sentiment analysis kind of that it's the customer is saying, oh, I had a bad day, then the output is okay, I'm sad kind of stuff. Instead of doing that, they just taken a very random guess that what is the state. So either it will go to node 2 or node 3 and stuff. And here they're adding the node to the graph. uh, and then putting a conditional edge. So this is basically the conditional edge. So start, go to node 1. So node 1 is I am, and depending on what my mood is, whether 50% here or 50% there. So either I am happy or I am sad kind of stuff, and then it ends. It's a very simple example. It sort of explains what nodes are, how you create node in a Langgraph, and how you can create conditional edges. So conditional routing, uh, whether I go to node 2 or node 3. So whether I go to tool, so I could have node 2 as a tool 2 or tool 3 kind of stuff, right? So my tool here, for example, my we have not added tools here. So in this example, there's no tool, but this fundamentally a very simple example. So I'll just to highlight how to build a graph in LangGraph. The other example is quickly skip to this. Yeah, so this basically is the example of that multiplying. So if let's multiply if just let's say I want to multiply 2 by 2 kind of stuff. So this basically is a multiply tool. So this is a tool that I've written that multiply A into B kind of stuff, right? uh, and uh, and when someone is saying that multiply, let me just quickly share. So I added a node called tool calling LLM, and then I added a node called tools. Tools is a multiply tool, right? That basically the tool that I multiply. This is a custom tool that I've written that multiply 1 into 2 or A into B kind of stuff. And then you add an edge called tool calling LLM, and this fundamentally is what the graph has been created. So if someone says multiply 2 into 2, then the LLM will say, oh, okay, it is a multiply, and then it will multiply. It will go to the tool and then say 2 into 2 is 4. But instead of that, if someone says, hey, do you know what's the capital of Paris? Then tool knows this is not a multiply. This is basically a generic answer. So it just say whatever the answer is and then end kind of stuff, right? So that's basically is what interesting part about Langgraph is that it automatically detecting how to route in some ways kind of stuff, right? It's saying this is the tool and this is not the tool. So for example, if I just say hello world, it will not call the tool kind of stuff. It will just say hello, how can I assist you? It will not. But if I don't know if I can do it here. Let's quickly see if we can see this example and actually do it. So I'm gonna load lang chain on lang graph. This first step is a little bit slow. It takes like 10-20 seconds. So it took 21 seconds, but then I'm gonna load my OpenAI key. Okay, does not have access, grant access. Then I will, create this multiply tool, and then basically just add the nodes to the graph. And now, if I come here, if I say hello world, it will say how can I assist. If I say here multiply 2 by 100, okay, Then said tool was called, multiply tool was called, and 2 by 100, answer is 200. Right. So depending on what the input was, the LLM could decide what to call and stuff, whether to call the tool or whether to just give a very generic reply. For example, I could now say, but do you know, uh, capital of India? So now it's saying capital of India. It's not calling any tool. It's just calling it's the capital, because that's basically a generic answer which LLM knows and stuff.
So
So
how did it, where did you code it that? I'm not sure where we have written that key multiply cases
no,
needs to be routed to tool,
this
but
one, right? This is the tool, right?
the tool
That
we have
we
created, yeah, we have
yeah,
added this tool, no, as added as a node.
and this basically is sort of the hint to it. Is
Okay,
multiply into B,
okay.
then basically A is the
Okay.
first step.
Otherwise, if we have not, otherwise, OpenAI could have directly answered that using the LLM power as well, like the capital of
Yes, yes, yes.
India. But because, okay, so fine. And
If
for
we
all the,
say, if let's
Hmm,
say we could have we can say A, right?
hmm,
Then the answer would not be A into B, but A into B to A.
got it.
Although LLM knows A into B,
Yeah,
2 into 2 is
yeah.
2,
But the
so 2
return
into
is
2
that.
into 2 will be 8. So answer
Hmm,
will be wrong, but
hmm,
LLM will give this answer.
understood.
And this is a model which basically is LLM. So you can choose your model. You can
Hmm. So even so, in let's say in one chatbot, if somebody is creating a chatbot, in one chatbot they can add n number of tools, and
yes,
so let's say any kind of a tool, and it will route it accordingly, and
I
one
think that's
simple tool can solve everything for a user.
yes. So here basically this example I was giving, right? Multiply, add, and divide. The
Hmm.
three tools here,
Hmm.
and the customer is asking for. So here also this now here is the recursion happening.
Hmm.
So you think add. So this is the example. Add 3 and 4, multiplied by 2, divide output of 5. So
If we would
then
have also added some, sorry, please go on.
no, no, go ahead.
If we would have added another tool of finding a capital
Hmm.
with looking into a database,
Hmm.
so let's say key combination of country and capital,
Hmm.
having a normal database, it
Hmm.
would have gone to that tool and search in
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
MySQL
right,
connector.
got
You
it.
can we actually have created one app where we could query using conversational,
Hmm, hmm,
saying that show me the catalog size,
hmm,
and I
hmm,
could speak in Hindi also कि catalog size बताओ मुझे kind of stuff,
hmm,
and then it will create actually a MySQL query, go in the
hmm,
DB, fetch it, and so you could have a tool like that also. Yeah.
hmm. Got it.
So this basically is again example where multiple tools are attached. So think we have multiply divide where the LLM will tools tool node. You're taking tool nodes where tools are there. Tools are tools are here. Using tools is equal to add, comma, multiply, comma, divide. This tool is what you add the node. Any other question from anyone?
Yeah. Hi, sir. This is Isha. I just joined from another account.
Hi,
I
Isha.
was just yeah, asking a question on the use case of the last example that we showed, where it is automatically deciding the routing. right? So we've also been trying to automate our support operations, and one of the biggest challenges, of course, is how does the bot really differentiate between a troubleshooting question versus a how-to question, right? So
Troubleshooting versus, sorry, which one?
a how-to question,
How to
right?
question.
So
Okay.
in a B2B SaaS ecosystem, if somebody sort of asking, how do I perform? Versus, hey, I am not able to do something, or I'm seeing something incorrect, can you break it down for me, right? So if I would like one interface to do both, this would be a perfect use case for that. Is that right?
Sorry, I couldn't catch your voice properly, Isha. You're saying that, hello? I think she's dropped out. Any other? I think she dropped out. If I'm not mistaken. Let's see her here. Any other question from anyone?
Hi, so sorry, I got disconnected. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you are. Yes.
Yes, sir. So the question was like today we have been struggling to create one single interface which solves for a how-to question and which automatically identifies a troubleshooting or an error resolution sort of a question,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So for that use case, would it be then beneficial to leverage Langgraph because it is automatically identifying the routing?
See, some kind of prompting you have to. So basically, it's routing based on some kind of logic, right? It's automatically routing. It is it is not that it's automatically routing, do this kind of stuff, right? But you have to give some kind of hint to this, to the LLM, that if this happens, do this. If you haven't do this happens, do this kind of stuff, right? So your troubleshooting questions, right? The
Mhm.
troubleshooting questions can be what, right? In which sector are you? Sorry.
This is an HRMS SaaS platform.
Okay, so troubleshooting question can be that how do I log in? I'm not able to get a password
That's right.
kind of stuff, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not able to download a certain report. I am not able to update the leave balance, something like that.
Yeah. So some kind of two shot or three shot prompting you might have to do if your LLM is not a fine-tuned LLM.
Okay.
That's what we also did in for some of our examples that we did, that you can give some, and LLMs are actually very very smart these days.
Mm.
uh, they would catch even like spelling mistakes. For example, when we said add to uh, you know card, it basically would translate into something, but it understands that it is actually talking about add to cart and stuff.
Mhm.
So if you give some two or three examples and say this is a troubleshooting
Mm. Okay.
agent, so route it to a troubleshooting agent, or you may want to tag it as a troubleshooting question kind of stuff, right? But for this is a how to should automatically maybe go to through a rag pipe and
Right.
just take the document and
I'm not able to hear Mr. Manoj. Is this only my case?
Yeah, I am also not able to hear. Still, hi Manoj, we are not able to hear you.
Can't hear Manoj.
Hi Manoj, can you hear us?
Manoj, we're not able to hear you.
Audible to. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can. Now I can hear.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry for that.
Hey, Manoj, we can hear you now. Yeah. So,
Okay, great, great.
so
Yeah,
we
you had question?
Yeah, so Isha here again. I think I missed the last 2 minutes of the answer. I lost it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. No, no, I'm
Yeah,
just saying, I just said that basically try, giving some examples in the prompt. If you need any specific, if you're coming across any specific issue, and or you need any specific answer on how you should implement that, I'm happy to, you can ping me on WhatsApp kind of stuff.
sure, sure.
But it is a very solvable problem because we came across a similar issue,
Right.
and it shouldn't be a problem for you in my view. You just give it 2 or 3 examples.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Great. So basically, I just quickly because almost time actually, we're almost time. So maybe I'll cover Notebook LM in the next session. Any other question before we part? Great. So with that, I wish you a great weekend. Enjoy a weekend. We'll come back again on Monday. And in that session, I'll definitely cover Notebook LM. And also, I would want to show definitely next week one of our conversational, commerce app that we have built, and take you through the architecture, how we did that kind of stuff. With that, thank you and have a great weekend. Bye bye. Take care.
Thanks, Manoj.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.